Even those of us of dubious faith recognise the connection between liberty, freedom and liberal democracy and religious belief, and it is a matter that we should take most seriously. I wish to highlight to the Minister two specific states, one very briefly and one slightly more in depth. First of all, China, then I'm sure he'll not be surprised highlighting India. In light of some of the situations in China, specifically in relation to Christians, specifically Roman Catholics, I do hope that the Minister will, maybe via the Papal Nuncio, feed back to the Holy See that in its deliberations with the People's Republic of China to overcome some of their disagreements over the last 70 years, that they do so reflecting on how the Roman Catholic faith survived the tyranny of Western communism and how it should deal with its connections and the practice of Roman Catholicism with Eastern communism. Undermining the underground Roman Catholic Church in any fashion, I think, would be a retrograde step, not just for those practising their faith in the Roman Catholic fashion, but for all people of faith in the People's Republic of China. Let me come to the situation in India, and I'm sure it will be of no surprise to the Minister that I would seek to raise that. In the Republic of India, the world's largest democracy, is its legal system based on common law, a signatory to many UN declarations, including on human rights, and a Commonwealth nation. And with the Commonwealth Heads of Government coming up in April here in London, I hope that the Government, through the Foreign Secretary, will raise just a few points with President Modi and his officials. First of all, in relation to Christians in India, that India has risen, in some reports, from being the 28th most dangerous country to practice the Christian faith to the appalling 11th. That Christianity in India is not some modern belief flown in from the Midwest in the United States, but it finds its roots in the Christianity of St. Thomas, the Apostle, between the birth of Christianity, some would say, and to the 6th century. That there continues to be in public in India calls for India to be free of Christians by 2021 by well-known people in the state of India. And there have so far been 23,000 incidents of physical and mental abuse against Christians of all denominations, and reportedly 635 Christians detained without trial or unfairly arrested. And that's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of Christianity. We should not forget the situation of Sikhs in India, who find themselves, those in the Sikh community in Scotland, for example, make up the largest proportion of the Indian diaspora north of the border. But let's not confuse some issues in terms of Sikh faith in relationship to India, the expression of Sikh faith and its persecution, and the authentic debate of self-determination. There should be no doubt that the Sikh community faces profound discrimination and intolerance in the practice of their faith, and the numbers of Sikhs detained for a very long period by state authorities continues to rise across all the states making up the Indian nation. This is not only a matter, I would say, Ms. Buck, for those practising the Sikh faith in India, but for every UK citizen, many of constituents who live in your own constituencies, who wish to visit the Punjab, to visit holy sites and or their families. It says the detention without charge of my constituent Jagtar Singh Johal of Dumbarton, the Sikh community across the UK has become gravely concerned that they too may be detained on the simple premise of being a member of the Sikh faith. And that to travel to a Commonwealth nation in a situation like that is quite profound. Therefore, I'd ask a couple of very specific questions of the Minister for the Government to consider. When President Modi attends the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in April, what discussions will the UK Government have with the Government of India on the persecution of Christians? Secondly, what discussions will the UK Government have with the Government of India on the persecutions of those of the Sikh faith? And to ask the Government how they will, in terms of the letters And responding to and using the responses the Minister has received from the freedom of, to the heads of mission on the freedom of religion or belief, how there will be responses to inform Foreign and Commonwealth Office policy, and how will the FCO encourage heads of mission to ensure that their diplomatic staff are trained to spot and resolve freedom of religion or belief violations. And finally, to ask the Government, will they ask other Commonwealth nations this April what actions they are taking to build a more tolerant society where religious belief is not only legislated for, but defended?
I think we should congratulate our honourable friend, the member for Strangford, for the way he's introduced this debate and his work over many.
Martin, we have, as he has alluded to, we have worked closely on a particular consular case. We are continuing to work closely on that case, and we'll do so. May I say that obviously he made some very profound points, both about Prime Minister Modi and we will do our best to try and raise some of these issues within CHOGM. He will appreciate that sometimes diplomacy needs to be done behind closed doors rather than with megaphone diplomacy, but I think he makes some very profound points about minorities, Christian and Sikh, within India, and we will try to find a way to raise these issues in an appropriate manner to ensure that, again, Parliament's voice is properly heard in the Commonwealth Heads of Government conference that takes place in mid-April. He also made some important points about issues in China and the Roman Catholic Church, and again we will find ways of making sure that those are addressed to heads of mission and we can bring them up properly. The Honourable Lady from Liverpool Riverside, apology, I had to escape for a quick break during the midst of her speech, but I did get I think I got all of the points that she was trying to make on the specific Yemeni